just wanted to introduce you, Mavis. Mavis, you and I met in Johannesburg some years ago, and you were giving a talk at a women's conference. Obviously, the development of women was important to you. I think I saw something in you that maybe you could actually help us with taking the Women in Leadership program into Johannesburg and South Africa. So that's the sort of welcome I have. I know that you're an ever busy student. You're doing a PhD?
Yeah, a doctorate in leadership psychology. I'm supposed to be finishing now in July.
So from an academic point of view, well done. You're actually way ahead of us. And we're here today to listen to you. Tell us a little bit about your experience with the leadership and women process. So it's over to you, Mavis. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. I'm excited to be having this session, talking about what is really important to my heart, that is developing women. So thank you, Greg, for that, because I really am passionate about ensuring that us as women, start to take our place in the leadership positions, whether it is in a home front or in our finances, or it is in the organization. So my topic really, I'm talking about successful women in organizations, but I'm really speaking to, our theme today, where we're talking about COVID and breaking out of COVID. That is our theme today. Okay. So for some reason, I navigated faster than I should. Naomi, please, can you get me back, because it's getting me stuck here.
Yeah, you got remote. Let me just.
Okay.
Okay, we go. Just go back.
Okay.
There we go. There we go.
All right. Okay. All right. So we're having some technical glitch here. Okay, so I want to talk about the leadership challenges, and specifically for women when we're talking about COVID. I think a lot of researchers already have been showing that women have been more impacted by, the change, the unplanned change of COVID-19 that we are still going through. So some of the things that have come out of the various researchers talking about the challenges that women are experiencing as a result of COVID, among others, is the identity role conflict. And what that means is that, you're at home, you're used to, changing environment to say, now I am a leader. Now I am at work. I'm focusing on my work. Now I am at home. I can be a mom. I can be a wife. But now you're doing all of these things in the same context, in the same environment, at the same place, right? So you now have to deal with being mommy, being a teacher, because, people had to homeschool, being a wife, and then being a leader. And you're juggling all these sort of roles in the same environment. So a lot of women have experienced really that identity role conflict. What am I? Am I a mom? Am I a leader? Am I a wife? Am I a teacher? So these, challenges women have experienced. But also with that came the question of, so what is my time worthy? So now you have to split your time between work, and I think you're working longer hours. You can't now delineate between this is work time, this is home time, and you're having these, long time hours that you are working. And the question has been, so what is my time really worthy, right? Because now you have to split this time between all the various roles that you're playing in the same context, in the same environment. And I think for a lot of women, that led to a feeling of a loss of control, where you're trying to multitask and do all these things, but you're now ending up having to do, what you're doing. All this multitasking, you're no longer succeeding in any of them. You are being mom, you are being a leader, you're being a wife, but because of the multitasking and because of the stretch that it is putting on you as a person, you have this sense of, I'm losing control. And a lot of the leaders that I've spoken to had that sense of, I'm having this loss of control, and I'm feeling stuck. So I'm no longer feeling like I'm succeeding in any of the key areas because of the way I have to sort of split myself to take care of all these, responsibilities that I have. And with that feeling of stuck, obviously there was a lot of, emotions around, people experiencing emotions around, the lack of energy, the victimhood, where you're feeling like, these things are really happening to me. I feel like I'm a victim here. And then a lot of stress, obviously, low energy and constant fatigue. A lot of, women leaders were sort of, reporting this, and also less productivity. or even just undermining their own productivity. Just because you know you're feeling overwhelmed, you are having to take care of all these responsibilities, you start even not seeing the progress, even little as it may be, that you're making because of the overwhelm that you're currently experiencing. Therefore, a lot of women were experiencing this negative emotions, negative attitudes, low energy, and sort of victimhood, if you may. And so then you're not really taking control of your life. You're not taking control of all the responsibilities you have. You're overwhelmed. And with me today, I have Issei, who's a learning and development manager for RANDMUTUAL, and she is on one of our programs, Leadership for Women. And I just want to have this conversation with Issei to say, I've just given the context of COVID. Issei, this might not necessarily have happened to you, but if it has, what has been your experience, and how is Leadership for Women helping you to sort of take back control of your life in a world where sometimes feels chaotic and sometimes feels like it's throwing you all these curveballs, therefore you're feeling overwhelmed and you don't feel like you're making the progress you wish to be making?
Hi, Mavis, and hi everyone. So I think for me, I remember my first conversation with you when I was nominated to participate in this journey. And I remember saying to you, Mavis, I need I think a week, because I've received the files and so forth, but my mind is just too clouded at the moment, and I'm still trying to figure out how I'm even going to participate in this course. And then I started reading the material, and it just started reminding me, or it just allowed me, as I read, to take a step back and say to myself, oh my word, what are you doing? Because as you mentioned, you have all these conflicting roles. So I've got 3 little ones, and at one stage I was the primary teacher, and then my role itself is quite demanding. So there wasn't enough time in the day just to meet basic deliverables, because in the mix of everything, you're having to stress about meals for the kids. And then, I have my spouse there, and as much as he's trying to assist and be part of it, women are the ones that bring everything together and that bring the warmth into the home, So for me, the journey of being on this program has helped me refocus. I've had to deprogram. I've had to reprogram. It's helped me to actually start setting boundaries again. Things that I used to do, back in the day when we were at the office. I've now got little sticky notes around my laptop. I've got, believe it or not, even hourly goals. So it's taken me back to a point where I'm back to setting goals. It's reminded me that you can get it all done in a day, but you've got to just be focused, and you've got to be emotionally connected to it. So for me, I even mentioned to you in my coaching session with you last week that I'm even using terminologies with the family, and I'm like, oh no, but it's not part of my goals for today. So let's pick it up tomorrow, just so that I can make sure I get whatever I need to done. And I think also for my kids, for my spouse, for the people that I'm working with, even they've actually seen a visible difference. In terms of the conversations I'm having, I'm not stuck in that same cycle of, okay, COVID, yes, we fear, how am I going to get everything done? So it's just allowed me to be me, and it's allowed me to integrate work and home, and have focus. So in terms of focus, it's done a world of good for me.
Hi, awesome. That's amazing. Thank you. And thank you for sharing that and what you're seeing. And so what LMI, or the Leadership for Women, has done is to give you a process. It is to give you a system. It is to give you tools that you can use to sort of take back control. And I think one of the things that we sort of, we don't take too much, we don't give it too much attention, is that, many people know that they can set goals, or we know about goal setting, right? And
Correct.
You say when you came to this program, you knew about goal setting because you're also a coach. What difference did the LMI course make when it came to sort of goal setting? Because you are also a coach and you've been doing this goal setting. What is the difference?
Oh, so I think for me, we sometimes we just forget, right? So we don't practice what we preach. But the beauty of this was that the content that I've been reading through and reminding myself about, or actually creating awareness for myself. The reading in terms of the different modules and the way it's staggered and the process it follows sort of starts making the penny drop. And I suppose that's what we're all looking for. We're waiting for the penny to drop. And, with everything happening around us, we feel that, okay, no, we're always going to be okay, but we don't realize the damage we're doing to ourselves and others in the process. And what the content did for me was the content started reminding me of the people that I'm impacting around. So it's not only about me. So yes, you're right. I do have to meet my own goals, and but for the people that I impact and for the barriers that I have even created for myself, it's just allowed me to look deeper and do, a lot more self-reflection. And it's allowed me to be more emotionally connected with what solutions I'm looking for and what outcomes I'm looking for. So, yes, we always talk about the wheel of balance. We talk about, doing a little of everything, learning. And I'm in learning and development. And I remember at one stage I said to you, oh my God, I just don't even have time to learn. And learning should never stop. But, I once remembered that, and this was years back, I always said, I'm never ever going to say that I'm never going to have enough time in a day. And here I find myself a few months ago saying, I don't have enough time in a day to take a walk or whatever the case is. But with the content, it started just helping me reshuffle, reprioritize, and break the conditioning, or remind myself of the conditioning that I've had, to step out of my own comfort zone, to get to actually where I want to get.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Isay, for coming through and for sharing that experience. We really appreciate it. And so these are some of the results that we are seeing, with the leaders in organizations as they start to use the process, for the Leadership for Women program. Thank you so much, Isay.
Thank you, Mavis,
for your input. Thank you. Okay, so I think with that, I then probably want to talk about okay. So much of your own success comes from your self-image, how you see yourself and what you can do to move your self-image to the next level. So what the program does really, I think one of the things that we sort of take for granted is that I know myself, I know what is important to me, I know how I see myself. And I think I remember taking one executive through this program. And when we're talking about one module in the program that is the self-image part, when I kept on, when we had the conversation around self-image, she kept on talking to me about her dress, her makeup, so she was talking about the external self-image, and I thought, wow, really, when you look at the social media, when you look at the world around us, when it is flagging women, it is constantly talking about the outer self-image, right? The outer things we can do to dress ourselves, to look pretty, to look good. But there's more than just that when it comes to self-image. I always talk about, you've got the interior image, then you've got the exterior image, but you need to make sure that you're taking care of your inner self so that you can, when you're taking care of your outer self, the results that you represent can also show as an individual. So I think that for me is very important to say, as women, we've got a lot of distractions around, people that want to tell us how we should be, how we can be, and a lot of that can be destructive in terms of us focusing on our interior self-image to build that so that we can become what we want to become, or we can show up fully in the leadership roles that we play as women in the various roles, right? So when you're taking back control, when you take one of these, when you take the Leadership for Women or any one of the LMI programs that we facilitate, what it does is I find that it gives you the advantage, it gives you the tools to sort of take care of your emotions. As you know, emotions are very pivotal to every aspect of our lives because emotions drive performance in every key area of your life. But when you take on the program and you start using the tools like goal setting, for example, it gives you a container for your own emotions, right? So it also gives you the opportunity to set up your own triggers. So if you're not actually setting up your own triggers, you can imagine the world is busy busy triggering you. There's lots of information. There's lots of things happening around you. But when you set your goals, it lets you focus. It also gives you your own triggers, which are positives, because then you're focusing on the things that are positives and the things that you want to focus on. And then you're shaping your own mind as an individual. What that means is that you are shaping your own values consciously, because a lot of people live with unexamined, unconscious values. But when you actually take through the program, you have got the opportunity to reflect on your values, but also to reflect on your beliefs so that you can reshape that, to reflect on your self-image and how that as an individual. And then it also helps you to, almost, focus, as I said, when you look at the brain, for example, right? And I think you will hear a lot more when we talk about maybe neuroscience in the next segment, that, when we are doing when you're taking one of the programs of LMI Leadership for Women, for example, what it helps you to do, as one of the things that we're noticing is that a lot of people are becoming left brain skewed. What that means is that people are focusing on task, and they're actually not knowing how to sort of break away from tasks so that they can connect. But when you take the Leadership for Women, it allows you to be a total leader. And what that means is that you're looking at the key dimensions of your life. You're not leaving any part of your life unattended, right? You're taking care of your finances, you're taking care of your social environment, your mental, your cultural. You're really taking care of everything so that you've got this whole brain that you can sort of, tap into. You're using both your left and your right brain. Your body, energy-wise, we know that a lot of people have experienced tremendous psychological demand on their bodies that has left them, with no energy and high levels of stress. But when you are using the program, when it helps you to reorganize both your internal and your external, you almost, recover your energy, and it also helps you to rebuild your own energy so that you've got, your body, your organ, you can actually use it to sort of, go after your goals or thrive or, pursue the things that are important to you. And also with that, it helps you to improve your social environment, right? I think when you take the program and you're really taking care of your interior self, you're taking care of your mind, you're taking care of your brain, you're taking care of your body. There's no way that your social environment will not improve. So you also improve your own social environment. As you know, that we human beings, we spoke earlier on about psychological safety, belonging, and connectedness. So it actually helps you to sort of, build and improve your social relationships. And with that, your task, your performance improves. So you're really taking back control of the things that matter for you as an individual, so that you can impact on the areas and the things that matter in your own life as an individual. Right. So I think also looking at the context, this is a great time for women, right? There is opportunities left, right, and center for women to take up positions of leadership in organizations. And I always joke with a lot of leaders that I, take through the process to say, the time is now and it's ripe, right? But a lot of us are not really prepared. We don't have the tools that we're using that can sort of set us up for success in a time where it is very ready for us to, sort of take up those leadership positions, right? So one of the things that, very important for us to know as women is that here's a quote that says, "I'm not one in a million kind of girl. I am a once in a lifetime kind of woman." How do you create that kind of woman that you yourself feel that I'm once in a lifetime kind of woman, right? So you feel that I am being the best that I can, and in the different roles that I carry, and I'm showing up fully, and I am, living out to the best of my potential as a woman, and I'm impacting in the areas that, really matter to me as a woman. So I think that for me is critical. And I think for me, having also taken leadership for women, I always joke and I say, I knew that I would do a doctorate at some point, right? It was on my, It was on my dream list. It was on my, on my dream list. But when was a question, but the moment I took Leadership for Women in 2017, it almost like it was that kick that I needed. And immediately I enrolled, and I'm almost done. It's 3.5 years later, and I'm almost done with my program. And it has been amazing to be able to use goals in my own life to achieve, when other people are looking at you like, how are you doing that? And I'm like, I've got the process that works, right? I've got the process that works, and it's giving me the results I want. I have been paying my own school fees, and it's been, sometimes looking at how am I going to do this, and to just get to a place where you are able to do all of these things without having to compromise any of the other things that really matter to you. So I think that is what I will say about leadership for women and the results that it can create for individuals, that it has actually created for me and continues to, because I continue to use the process even as I work with leadership for women in organizations.
Thank you, Mavis. We had a question from a delegate on the listening panel that said, I'm a very task-oriented person with lots to-do lists. What techniques should I try and use to become a more holistic person? Okay,
so I always say to people what, and I've learned this from Greg, that says, what is not prioritized, what is not planned for, it will not get done. So if all you're doing is setting your goals on to-do lists, it definitely means that you not do the things about connection or relationship. It's not there on your timeline. It's not there in your planner, so it will not get done. So the only way is to make sure that your goals and your to-do list reflect the key dimensions of your life, right? So all the key dimensions of your life need a to-do list. And in your timeline, there has to be a reflection in terms of reflecting those key dimensions of your life.
Thank you for that. You and I can talk about leadership and women for hours. I mean, we've been on the show where Kevin had to actually stop us, and I've got a load of stuff I want to ask you, but we're running short on time. So I'm going to ask you to close your session with what advice you will give the new generation for being female leaders in the future.
Okay, so I think the advice is, yes, there are so many leadership programs out there, but there is something about leadership for women that is pertinent to us as women that, you need to sort of, get exposed to, that will help you stand out as a woman. So that for me is important. I've done many leadership programs, but the leadership for women, really pertinent information that is important for women.
Thank you, Mavis. Thank you for that. Once again, our women out there, I hope they were listening. I hope they were taking notes. And come join us. Come do a Women in Leadership program with us. And you are the forerunner in those programs going out in South Africa. So thank you for that. Appreciate it.